This is HR Service Unscripted.
I'm like, curveball.
Good afternoon or morning, depending where you're at. Welcome to HR Service Unscripted. This is our weekly podcast. I'm here with Dr. Liz
Hello.
and Nikki, and we
Hello.
have a great question for the crew today. I believe Nikki found this one, and I'm going to throw it to you. Give us your question.
Uh, so this is regarding pay for sick leave. It is in the state of New Jersey. Um, so this could apply to other jobs, but this particularly was about a therapist. So say the worker accrues some sick leave, they don't use it, and then they get their annual raise. And just for ease of reference, let's say they were making $50 an hour. November 1st came, they get their raise. Now they're making $75 an hour. When they request time off that had been accrued previous to November 1st, are they paid at the previous rate or at their current rate?
They should be paid at their current rate of pay.
Because this employee's manager is telling them that since they accrued the time previous to the raise, that they will be paid at the previous rate. So, in addition, in my opinion, to being a very bad practice, is it illegal?
That's a great question. And I don't think, well, here, it's not illegal. We can go with that.
Oh, you're sure?
I'm pretty sure.
I think it
So I know under
depends.
our,
Oh, go
sorry.
ahead, Dean. Sorry.
No, I know under our labor law, right? There's not a federal rule. Well, here, now, that's a gray area. I shouldn't say it's not illegal because under federal, we'll talk federal because there's going to be federal and state levels, right?
Mhm.
Federal doesn't have they don't require employees to pay accrued sick leave, right, at the current rate, unless it's specifically stated in the company's policy.
You're right. Yeah. So federally, sick pay is not required at all. So that one is not a factor, but we should check
It's
New Jersey.
not great to do. It's not good for morale or anything, but federally they don't have to, which is Anyway, what's your thought on that one? Go, Liz.
So I'm on the same train of thought, but I'm looking at the state laws of does the
Yes.
state consider it wages earned? Because there are some states that consider accrued time as wages earned. And so I did a quick search for New Jersey, and it looks like New Jersey does not consider it accrued paid time off as wages earned unless it's stipulated in company policy.
And I
So
know back to the state policy, I know California, New York, Washington, there may be a few others. We'd have to look this up specifically, but I know those three require you to pay at the current rate.
Oh, they say it in there. So New
They say
Jersey
it in their,
apparently, oh, go ahead. Me? New Jersey, it states paid sick leave is required at the employee's regular rate of pay, which cannot be less than the state minimum wage. That's all they have here. It doesn't say, I mean, I feel like if it's required at the employee's regular rate, it just they're missing the word current, but it's
yeah,
implied.
and that's the
I
fun
think it's
thing
implied.
with California or Washington, and I can't remember the other states. These are the three just popped up when you search,
Mhm.
and it specifically states current rate when used of sick leave.
Interesting. I wonder why we don't have that because typically we do. I'm going to tell our new governor, who just got elected yesterday, that she needs to update that.
And you're right, because New Jersey does tend to be very employee friendly. So it is a little out of character for it to not be stipulated.
I think it's because it's implied because sometimes things are implied in the law and it's just like I would go back to that employer and be like, of course it is, you ding dong. You got to pay somebody at their current rate, not what they accrued it at. What if you saved all of your vacation for the last, 2 or 3 weeks of the year. And also the administrative burden
Hmm?
of calculating, like, oh, this one was accrued at this rate and that, like, why are you doing that to your payroll person?
And that was my thought too, is I know people who carry over 100, 200 hours, their max, whatever they can every year. Can you imagine the nightmare that would create of, oh, you have 10 hours at this rate, 10 hours at this rate, 30 hours at this rate. That's a logistics nightmare. I don't think how much time and effort we put into figuring that out, just paying them outright.
Yeah. Or what if someone, like the people who carry a balance of carryover every year? So they always have like 3, 4 days that they carry over into the next year. And it's like, oh, well, those 3 days were from, 6 years ago. So we're going to pay you at that rate. Like, it's just, excuse me, whoever this employer is, I'm going to tell you right now, you're ridiculous. And we don't like
Yeah, even if not
Well,
legally required, it is still a administrative nightmare and retention nightmare for your employees. And what would the advantage of doing this be? And is it worth the cost?
what is the right thing to do? For morale, for
it.
retention, the whole bit. I find it interesting that the feds are like, hey, we don't, that's not up to us. We'll let the states deal with it. How many things do they kick down like that all the time because they just don't deal with it? And vice versa, it goes up as well. States don't deal with it. Like, hey, let's see what the feds do.
Yeah, let's make it a federal mandate. So my other point is that would, if I was the employee in that scenario, I would think to myself, this is making me feel like my employer is not financially comfortable right now. That would make me think, do I need to start looking for another job because are they not solvent at the moment?
And if what what role did you mention this was?
It was a therapist, I think, like talk therapy.
So that is a very highly sought after role where there's a shortage of therapists. So why would you want to risk losing that person over a minimal difference in pay?
Because say that's just they take one day, it's 8 hours. And in this particular instance, it was actually a difference of $5. I made it 15 for our scenario. But the actual one was $5. So it's like, what's 8 times 5?
We'll go with $40.
I'm a communications major. It's over $40. You are pr tarnishing your relationship with this employee. Maybe we'll lose them. And then how much more are you going to spend on recruiting for a new employee? And I imagine that there is a credentialing process with those because they're therapists. So it's like you're spending money on that. It's come on.
No. And is it going to
It's not
cost you
worth
that
it.
much money? Yeah. It's going to cost you that much money for someone going to manually edit payroll to change the difference and put it back in and run it. And it's like, it's not worth the time or effort.
Or the goodwill.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Well, we made that one sound fairly easy.
Yeah. We should do like ding dong employers. Like when we think they're being really stupid. We're like, ding dong.
Oh, but if you open that up, how many people would send in emails or notes or calls like, I have a ding dong employer? You'd have like 10,000 emails in a week.
Great. Tons of material. Do you remember? Oh wait, no, I think it might have just been a New York thing. So there was this radio station, like in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, who would have people call in and say F you, but they would say the word like to their boss. And then they were encouraged to like say the reasons that they wanted to say it. So it was, all of these, it was hysterical because it was like all of these Bronx and like Brooklyn guys who'd call and be like, "Hey, Steve, you didn't do such and so. You stole my lunch the other day." You and they would say it, and it was the funniest thing. So it was like this bit that they would have on this radio station, but it could be like that. But we're just doing employer ding dongs, not we're not saying.
I don't know if we have the time or the energy to go through all that. It would be hilarious, yes, but oh my gosh, could you imagine the black hole you'd open up of people complaining about employers?
But some of them are probably legit. Probably most of them are legit.
Oh
If
yeah, I'm
you
sure they're legit.
Well, and
If
the
it wasn't,
benefit
we
to that
wouldn't.
is that we could then potentially offer help to these employers because they may be in need of some HR support. Maybe involve the employers like, hey, we've got this report. What's going on?
Oh, that's a good idea. Just a friendly shout out to say, You might have a disgruntled employee on your hands, and we can help you with that.
So we can
We just
listen to the
spin it
calls and send
positively.
them to sales, take the ones we want. Okay, we can do that. We'll give out that information at the end. So if you want to call or don't call, just send us emails. Send emails about your ding dong employers.
I
All
also have
right.
a question of the day.
I was just going to ask that. I'm like, do we have our question of the week, question of the day, whatever it is
Yeah.
today? Okay,
Um,
throw it at us.
it's a good one. This one is regarding chronic tardiness. So this person writes, I manage a small team of office staff, and one of my employees has developed a chronic tardiness problem. She strolls in 10 to 20 minutes late most mornings, usually with a coffee in hand and an excuse about traffic or her alarm. I've had a couple of casual conversations reminding her that punctuality is important, but the behavior hasn't improved. She's otherwise a good worker, meets deadlines, gets along with coworkers, does quality work, but her lateness is starting to irritate the rest of the team who feel like she's getting special treatment. How should I handle this without damaging morale or coming across as nitpicky?
That one's a little difficult because typically when it comes to tardiness and attendance, I'm very much so employer friendly and feel that that's important because it is important because if they're not there and they're not there on time, it's impacting the whole team. But in an office environment such as that, it really the impact on the team kind of depends on what her role is. Is she the office manager? Is she opening the office? Is she the receptionist? What what is her level of impact to the team? And maybe we need to look at should the team reconsider their tardiness policy? Is there wiggle room for them to be 15, 20 minutes late and just kind of manage the workload as opposed to the actual time spent at work?
And then have they talked to this person? Have they had a nice little meeting in private? Just ask him why. Here's your attendance. Why are you late so often? What's going on?
A couple of
And
conversations reminding them that
couple,
punctuality is important. I
have
think,
they,
I think it's the coffee in hand that might be the
and I'm okay with the coffee in hand. I guess if you're a coffee drinker, you're fine with it. But well, have they started to document this process, with dates, times,
Mhm.
any discussions that they've already had, like starting the whole process?
I don't think the manager wants to take any kind of they want to handle this without damaging morale. It's I think they don't want to like start a performance improvement plan or anything like that. I'm
So it
sorry, my
doesn't
dog is
sound
yawning.
like the person reaching out with the question is too concerned. It sounds more like the team is concerned,
Right. They're getting yeah, they're getting attitude from the team. I mean,
which
I
is
have a couple of
understandable.
problems for sure. Well, are they being held to a different standard or is everybody
Mhm.
kind of allowed to stroll in 10 or 20 minutes late? And yeah, it's an office environment. So like, does everybody need to be there at 8:30 on the dot, or is it more like, this is knowledge work. It's not that people have to be there on time for like a customer or something.
Exactly. And that's kind of what I'm looking at is what is the overall tone? What are the overall roles? And does it need to be a cultural shift as opposed to focusing on rather discipline or not disciplining this individual?
It's interesting. I took this originally just as, the manager is complaining. I didn't think of a teammate that was actually writing, complaining about it. So that kind of changes the whole scenario if the manager's not doing anything with this employee. What happens if the entire team starts doing this now? Is that going to be acceptable?
See, I was thinking, yeah, what if other people start doing it? Then the work is not really getting done, especially not in the morning, because people feel like they can just stroll in at whatever time. Because, the day starts at 8:30 and this person's getting in at 8:50. Sometimes it looks like that quickly turns into 9, 9:15, 9:30. Are they staying later to make up for it? And maybe the person who's managing them needs to be out of there at 5 o'clock every day. And they can't stay late to make sure these people are actually making up that time in the afternoon.
There needs to be some accountability. I have an
Mhm.
old story many years ago when I was in a different company. We had a tenured employee. She was there about 30 years. She would come in, clock in, and then go upstairs and get breakfast. That was her day every day. And she did this for 20 years. even before I started. So you just got used to it, like, oh yeah, that's just what she does. And if anyone would say anything, she's like, well, this is my break. So she'd come in and take break right off the bat, go get breakfast and come back down. And it was something she's done forever, and it was acceptable. Everyone just accepted and said, okay, we'll deal with it. Mind you, she was in her department kind of by herself. She did her own thing, and she was always good at what she did. She never got behind, had all of her work done. So we just kind of, I was much younger, maybe not as intelligent. I just went, oh yeah, that's fine. That's what she does.
I mean, did she not get her work done
Oh, she did. She did
though?
amazing work. She always had her work done on time. Yeah.
Because I feel like, especially when like you used to commute into the office, and I mean, more so for me, like when my kids were really little, like the time before you actually got into the office, you've lived a whole day. You've been awake for 5 hours. You've been through a marathon of getting people dressed and out the door and fighting traffic. So, like, maybe she genuinely felt like that was her break because she had already been up for 5 hours doing things. I mean, I don't know what her situation was, but like, I feel like I used to do the same thing when I got into the office because I'd be like, oh, this is the first time I sat down since 6 o'clock this morning. And I'm like it's like your second day when you're starting at 9, you know what I mean? When you've had like a really long morning. I mean, whatever her situation was previous to that. So I
I
have no
would
problem with it because I am just very much of the school of thought that performance needs to be managed and not time.
I agree. I think performance needs to be managed and not time, depending on what the industry and the role is, because the amount of impact she's having on another person is what matters. But if this is an office environment, I really need to know more about what type of impact it's having on the others. Is it just feeling like they're being treated differently, or are they having to pick up workload, or is somebody, if she's like the receptionist, for example, is someone having to cover the front desk until she gets in? Because I know that would have an impact because it's then impacting others. So I think there's more that needs to be known in order to be able to form a good, well thought out, rounded plan on this one.
I agree. And we're still going to keep that manager accountable. They need to know what their people are doing, whether that's acceptable to come in a few minutes late or not, whether they have a staggered starts. It's probably a simple problem we could fix with just a little communication.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, just the fact that this actually it's the office manager who is making the complaint. Just the fact that they say punctuality is important. But like, why?
The office manager's making the complaint with an office worker. Okay. There has to be a discussion made. Someone has to step up and say, hey, what's going on? Let's take care of this.
Right. What's the real reason? I mean, if the real reason is that she wants to stop for her coffee and there's traffic and it's like time management is an issue, or yeah, I would get to the what's really happening. Is work not getting done? It just can't be because some people are more conscientious about arriving on time and they are bitter that other
Yeah.
people are like, oh, well, look at them, look at
And in reality, it's common courtesy that if you're going to be late and show up with coffee, you show up with coffee for the whole team.
them.
That's fair.
You need to know everyone's orders. See, now that is an interesting way to put a stop to it because if you're buying, say it's Starbucks, if you're getting that for everybody every time that you're late, that's a significant chunk of money each week. Because I mean, their cheapest coffee is like $5.
That'll encourage you to get there on time.
Yeah. We should put them together with the one who's wants to bean her worker for $40 for her PTO. Be like, what would be a better use of that $40? Buy your team some coffee.
What
And we
team
are
doesn't
no
love
way,
coffee?
that's right. And we're no way affiliated or sponsored by Starbucks. But if you want to, we'll be more than happy to talk to you about
I love Starbucks. I have finally gone over it. I'm sorry, I'm basic now. I love Starbucks. I used to hate it, and now I like it.
I enjoy Starbucks and the pumpkin spice latte. I do the whole thing.
Give
It,
me a good pumpkin spice latte, and I will wear my Uggs and a stupid scarf, and I will be basic, and I don't care. I like it.
it. Okay.
I own it in that
Okay.
moment.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to have you wrap up our question. Final thoughts on the person being late, whether they have Starbucks or not, and not sponsored again.
Trainer
Final
terminate.
thought. Yeah. No, there you go. Now, I don't know if this is quite the termination piece yet, but I think we need some training involved from not only to the employee, but to the management as well. But Doctor, tell us, give me your final thought on that.
I'm in agreement. I don't think we're anywhere near termination on this one. I think we need some training for definitely the manager, maybe the employee, and let's figure out what's going on with the office culture and what the expectations are.
Mhm.
And maybe some of the other office workers. We just need a whole unit training, I think. Right, Nikki, final thoughts?
I would say, yeah, train. I think everybody needs to be trained, including the manager and everyone else who's there. And maybe people need to perhaps be brave and say time is a social construct that doesn't really exist. And, I'll get there when I get there.
With coffee in
Sorry,
hand.
distracted while I was answering that. So that might not have been the right answer. Sorry.
It just was a little more deep than I expected, so it's fine. It's great. All right. Okay. Well, I think we took care of the therapist question, or the payroll, the pay for sick leave or time off. That one, you know, just do it. Do the right thing. Really, it's not going to cost you that much more. Yep. In our trainer term, we will train somebody. Okay. I think that's about it for today. Final thoughts before we sign out and give credentials? Nada? Okay. Well, if you want to contact us, please contact us at solutions@hrserviceinc.com. Starbucks, reach out. We'd love a sponsorship. A few bags of coffee would be fabulous. You can call us 833-685-8400. And I'm Dean with Nikki and Dr. Liz. And thanks for joining us on the HR Service Unscripted.
Can I
We
do
will talk
another?
to you soon.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Quick shout
go,
out to
go.
Starbucks if they're listening. I would just love decaf cold brew. I just every time I have any opportunity to get in Starbucks ear, that's what I tell them.
Decaf. Okay. Starbucks, I do not do decaf because I need all the caffeine I can take. So,
Yeah, that's a Nikki only request.
yes, exactly.
I don't want to mix the message here.
Okay. Well, thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Remember, we are HR Service Unscripted, right? We're on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube. Give us a thumbs up and a subscribe.